everybody. Welcome to Katie in the Morning. I'm Katie Page, Director of Member Relations at the National Association of Healthcare Assistants. As CNAs, one of the toughest things about our job is taking care of people that don't understand what we're trying to do, that we're trying to help them. And a lot of times that can result in combative behaviors. We actually had a question on the National Association of Healthcare Assistants page on Facebook from a young lady who was asking how to protect herself or kind of deflect these situations where she said she was tired of getting hurt. Unfortunately, as CNAs, the chances of us getting hit, kicked, bit, hair pulled, shoved, something are very, very high in our profession. Like I said, these are people that we're trying to take care of that might not necessarily understand that we are trying to help them. Meds are getting switched every single day across the nation. It can result in behaviors that way. It can result in confusion. Besides the illnesses and the infections, UTIs are notorious for messing with people's heads and making them do things and say things that they normally wouldn't do and act different ways than they normally wouldn't act. So today I wanted to give you guys some tips about protecting yourself against aggressive or combative behaviors. The first tip that I can give you is observation. Does the behavior occur at a set time of the day every day? Does it occur when he or she is hungry or frustrated? Does the behavior come out only when a certain person is present? Is there a need that they're trying to express? And have they started any new medication? These are questions, if it's a resident or someone that you're caring for that is starting to develop behaviors that you've never seen in them before. These are some questions that you should look at and kind of take into consideration. Write not just mental notes, but literally write it down. Answer those questions over a period of time. If they started new medications, the nurse should have notified the CNA that this is happening, so they can watch for adverse reactions or behaviors that are developing within that person's regular actions or irregular actions that are developing in that person. The one that I wanted to kind of point out out of that list is this behavior happening around a certain person? It may not be a case of abuse, but in dementia care, memory care, especially, residents or elders or people with dementia period can see someone and that person can remind them of someone in their past. For instance, there was a young lady that I worked with in Iowa who absolutely her favorite color was red, and she wore red scrubs like almost every single day. And when I moved back to the unit, she came back because I was her preceptor and I was going to train her back there. And there was just a really, really bad reaction from one of the residents that lived back there. And it wasn't that she was aggressive or mean towards the residents, because she absolutely was not. She's probably one of the most gentle, empathetic CNAs that I've ever worked with. But this resident had a problem with the color red. It was during her first marriage. She was in a very abusive relationship, and her husband would not allow her to wear red because he said some very bad things about that color in particular. And once she was divorced with him and remarried, her second husband, put her a whole new wardrobe, straight red clothing. But after he passed away, it kind of went back into that mindset for her with that dementia of the first marriage. And every time she saw this young girl wearing red, she just automatically lashed out at her. So those are things you have to take into consideration with those aggressive behaviors. Is it a color that you need to avoid? Is it a certain person that reminds them of someone that from their past? Just to kind of offset those triggers with behaviors, do as much in observation as you possibly can. It may be that everybody knows sundowners exist. I don't care how many experts say it doesn't. It exists. If you work in a memory care unit, I'm telling the truth here, because the full moon thing is a very, very true aspect of caring for elders with dementia as well. So anyways, back to subject. So these are questions that you're going to want to ask about the situation, ask about the person when you're trying to prevent kind of outbreaks of aggression and combativeness. The second tip that I can give you is to set yourself up for success. Remove any object that may be used as a weapon, first of all. Protect yourself. Stand out of range if possible. Layer garments on yourself to protect your skin from penetration. Set up ways to distract them when you see a violent outburst coming. There is definitely safety in numbers, so don't be afraid to ask for help. And let them cool off and come back later if it's a situation that is not de-escalating. The one that I kind of wanted to point out here is layering yourself with garments to prevent skin penetration. There may be someone who you have to give a bath to, for instance, who absolutely hates water. We had to give you guys a personal experience with this one too. We had a lady that I took care of in a dementia care unit who was notorious for digging her nails into your arms when you're trying to give her care. It happened every single day, every single shift. It didn't matter who took care of her. She absolutely did not want the help at all, period. But there's things that we have to get done to meet the care plan and the requirements of the state. So eventually we figured out this way. I'm sure a lot of you guys know what the derma savers are. They're kind of that foamy skin sleeve that you can put on if someone is prone to skin tears, to protect them from getting skin tears from wheelchairs or corners on the walls or whatever. So we started putting derma savers on underneath a sweatshirt. So when we went in to care for her, she was digging into that derma saber, and we'd react, the ouch, ouch, you're hurting me, you're pinching me. But it'd allow us enough time to distract her to get done what we needed to get done. She wasn't hurt, we weren't hurt, and I think it gave her a little bit of satisfaction as well, thinking that she was actually hurting us. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to go through a couple more tips for you guys.
From the Heart, a weekly segment with John Willard, airs every Tuesday at 2:30 Central Time on CNA TV.
Welcome back to Katie in the Morning. Today we're talking about dealing with residents with aggressive or combative behaviors and how you can protect yourself and prevent those things from happening. We ran through the first few tips. The last one that I wanted to bring to you guys is document. Make sure that you are documenting each behavior and how it is and how you're implementing those interventions with those behaviors. Report it to the nurse every time that it happens. And remind participants to discuss the behaviors during care plan meetings, because no reaction comes without action. So make sure you're pointing out to your director of nursing. Make sure you're pointing out to your nurse. I would kind of refrain from mentioning it to the family members, because that's kind of out of our scope of practice unless you're in home health care or a hospice CNA, and that's directly in your job description. But definitely write it down every time you report it. Have somebody initial it, cover your butt to make sure that you are doing something to stop the situation from happening. It'll be the best for you caring for that person. It'll also be the best for the person that you're caring for. I thank you guys all for joining me today, and I will see you next time on Katie in the Morning.